Hey, what is up YouTube? This is the Merman Master coming at you guys from the Team Time Riders YouTube channel today with the next GX character deck profile. And today we are going to be profiling our Chazz Princeton deck. Special shout out and thanks to a Psychotropic Wanderlust, I hope I said that correctly, for the deck suggestion. Really like this deck and spent a long time building this back in the day. As you guys are aware, the new Armed Dragon stuff is coming out in the next set, which I'm very excited for. It seems to be super interesting stuff, and I might try and fit it into this deck in some way, shape, or form. If you give me that plus an Ojama fusion spell, I think we're really cooking with fire at that point. One thing to note before we get into this deck profile, guys, I know some of you guys like seeing a lot of the max rarity stuff. This deck, as well as Cyrus's deck and a couple of the other decks I have in here, are not going to be max rarity, and that is actually intentional, as I just feel that it fits the characters more. Cyrus was a character who had a lot of hand-me-down stuff from his brother Zane, and Chazz is a guy who fished all his cards from the gutter when he was at North Academy, so it would not make sense for him to have max rarity cards in his deck. But people like Zane, Aster, and Jesse, who, these guys are they have one-of-a-kind decks. Zane's the big man on campus. Jesse got his cards from Pegasus, and Aster had his created by his father. It would make more sense for those guys to have max rarity decks, as they're the ones who, who have these very specific types of decks. So I just kind of felt that Chazz's deck is filled with throwaway cards, and he relies on his dueling skill alone, so it wouldn't make sense for him to have a max rarity deck. But with that being said, guys, let's get into the profile, and I really hope you guys enjoy it. So, starting out right now, we have the Ojamas. So this deck is going to be an Ojama Armed Dragon Vwxyz deck. So with the Ojamas, we're only running 3 sets. We're only running the 3 originals in here. That's Ojama Yellow, Ojama Green, and Ojama Black. I purposely decided to run the 3 originals because while the 2 other Ojamas that are currently out are good, it's not really, something that I felt that fit the character. I feel like Chazz had a bond with these particular 3 Ojamas, and throwing some other ones in the mix there is not really going to be as good. They also changed the style of the deck. Red encourages more link summoning, and blue encourages battle destruction and stuff. So while they would technically make an Ojama deck more consistent, I just decided against running them here. The next cards we've got are, of course, the Armed Dragons. And I'm running a suite that not a lot of Chazz players run. Usually you see 2 level 5 and 1 level 7 in the deck, but I'm doing something a little bit different, and I'll show you. So I'm running 1 copy of Armed Dragon level 3, 2 copy of Armed Dragon level 5, 2 copies of Armed Dragon level 7, and finally 1 copy of Armed Dragon level 10. And there is a combo in this deck that allows you to summon this card pretty much your first turn. It's a 3-card combo, but if you have that plus one of the other cards in the deck, you can pretty much get this guy out, and it's so fun being able to summon him and use him and win with him. And your opponents, anytime anyone sees this card on the field, it's always a good time. So this is one of the I would say one of the funnest character decks that I own. You will have the most fun playing with this deck. The last cards we've got in this deck are, of course, the Vwxyz stuff, and I waffle between several of the numbers, but I felt like this was the perfect number. So we have 1 copy of V Tiger Jet, 1 copy of W Wing Catapult, 1 copy of X Head Cannon, 1 copy of Y Dragon Head, and finally a single copy of Z Metal Tank. And that's going to do it for our monsters. Now, do note, guys, that every single monster in this deck, unlike any of the other character decks, is a brick. So the fewer monsters you have in your hand and the more spells and traps, the better your hands end up being. This deck is designed about winning with Chazz's old cards in mind, or things that, sort of work with Chazz's general style of character. So I really wanted to keep that as key as I wanted. So starting out with our first card is the eponymous Ojama. Probably one of the 3 best cards in this entire deck, guys. Ojama has a fantastic special ability. You discard any Ojama card from your hand to the graveyard, and you can add one Ojama and one Armed Dragon monster from your deck to your hand. And if we were playing it, this could also include Dark Armed Dragon, so you can actually use this to search any Armed Dragon card, including any of the new stuff. And then you can normal summon one of those cards right away. So basically what you do is you can normal summon one of the Ojamas you draw and then tribute that if you search Armed Dragon level 5 to get Armed Dragon level 5 out on the field in main phase 1. So super, super good. The combo I was talking about earlier, utilizing, of course, your Armed Dragon level 10, involves actually Armed Dragon level 3. So you can go through all four levels pretty much at one time, because Ojama is a quick play, and Armed Dragon level 3 triggers during your standby phase, which means that you can actually activate this card during the standby phase to search and normal summon your Armed Dragon level 3 during the standby phase, where its effect will then activate, and you get out Armed Dragon level 5. When Armed Dragon level 5 is on the field, all you got to do is just activate your level up spell card to bring Armed Dragon level 7 to the board, and if you've got level 10 already in your hand, you just special summon level 10 on top of your level 7, and bada bing, bada boom. You have your Armed Dragon level 10 gone through all 4 levels in one singular turn. So that's super, super good, and I love this card, Ojama, for that reason. The next card we've got in the deck is the other, one of the best cards in here. That's Ojama Simulation. Now, for those of you guys who've watched the GX anime, you know that Chazz ran a card called Ojama Ride. And we were like, man, it would be so great to have a card like that in the game, but would never, ever get one. But Ojama Simulation is so much better than Ojama Ride. And, when I saw these cards come out and, like, how much they actually made this deck a real possibility to build, like, it made me so, so happy to be able to actually run some of the stuff that we can run in here. And Ojama Simulation just basically says that if you have an Ojama in your hand, field, or graveyard, any number of them, you can reveal a fusion monster in your light machine fusion monster in your extra deck and special summon the monsters on that card from your hand deck or grave main deck. So that allows you to get out your V, W, X, Y, and Z monsters. They don't have any special summoning capabilities of their own, and they're not as consistent as the ABC stuff, so having a card that can special summon them so easily from anywhere is just a fantastic, fantastic play, and allows you to get them all on the field, and you can banish them all to special summon like an Xyz Dragon Cannon or a VW Dragon Cannon. One of the great things about both that card and your wherever it is, your Ojama, is they're not even once per turn. So as many as you have in your hand, if you've got discard outlets for them, you can activate as many of them as you want. And not only that, but they both have a powerful second special ability, which allows you to banish them when you have 3 Ojamas in your banish zone, shuffle them all back into your deck, and then draw a card. So, so good, recycles your deck, and is perfect for the next card I'm about to show you guys. The next card here we've got is 3 copies of Ojama. Now, Ojama is a fantastic, fantastic card because this is one of the OG ways to search your Ojamas. When it's discarded from your hand to the graveyard or sent from the field to your graveyard by any way, shape, or form, you're allowed to search Ojama Green, Ojama Yellow, and Ojama Black from your deck to your hand. You must search all 3 of these cards, though, so that is something to note. But, cards like your Ojama here allow you to discard Ojamas from your hand to your graveyard, and so you just discard Ojama, search an Ojama, and then match will trigger a graveyard to search you something else. And because of this, because of both of the cards' ability to return Ojamas back into your deck, it's going to be very rare that an Ojama is actually not live. So it's super, super good for that. You will usually go through all 3 during the course of a duel if you're playing things kind of correctly here. So that is something to note. We mentioned before about 2 copies of Level Up. The level monsters in this deck, aka the Armed Dragons, one of them requires, like level 3 requires a standby phase, and some of the others require you, like level 5 requires you to destroy an opponent's monster by battle. But sometimes your opponent might not necessarily have stuff that you want to destroy, so it's cool to be able to have Level Up on the board, so you can just level your monster up into like an Armed Dragon level 7, and since you summoned it through Level Up, you don't have to destroy anything by battle. The most powerful card in your extra deck is the Armed Dragon Catapult Cannon, which we will get to in a little bit, but that card only requires Armed Dragon level 7 to have been summoned to the board. So Level Up can get that guy out very, very easily, and Super, super good card. So not a lot of people run it, but Chazz did run it canonically, so that's something to consider. And speaking of canonical cards, we've got Magical Mallet. I absolutely love this card, and I'm thinking about bumping it up to 3 in here. It's so, so good and combines so wonderfully with Ojama because with Ojama you can get, you know, a lot of Ojamas and stuff to your hand, but usually it's kind of like you know, it's advantage that you can't really do anything with. So yes, you've got hand advantage, but you know, the hand advantage is literally all Ojamas. Magical Mallet is technically a -1, but you can shuffle all your Ojamas back into the deck and draw a fresh new hand of just powerful cards that you can use. So it's a huge consistency booster in this deck, and pairs really, really well with a whole bunch of other stuff. The fact that Chazz canonically ran it is just a bonus, so it works so well in this deck for that reason. Next card we've got in here is 1 copy of Ojama Delta Hurricane. You will actually get this off quite often, guys, because you run a trap card called Ojama Duo, which allows you to banish cards, banish itself in the grave to special 2 Ojamas to your board. So if you get 2 Ojamas in the board, you special 2 that you don't have, and then you normal summon the 3rd Ojama, and then you have a live Ojama Delta Hurricane. You can search this off of your trap card as well, so amazing, amazing card. We've got 1 copy of Polymerization. It allows you to take Ojamas in your hand and fuse them into the one and only Ojama King or Ojama Knight. And this is actually kind of good because what you have is, you know, your Ojama Assimilation doesn't have to require the cards in your hand. So, you know, if you're fusing from your hand, you're just using up hand advantage. But if you can use the monsters for a fusion summon and then banish them to from the graveyard for Ojama Assimilation, then, I mean, that's just free advantage right there. And you lock down 3 positions on your opponent's board, which is super good. And combine that together with Ojama Duo, and you've got a crazy board lockout that your opponent will not be able to break unless they can use your tokens to link summon. We then have 1 copy of Fusion Tag. I really, really like this card because it allows you, most importantly, to fusion summon using a monster that you might not have. So I like to use this to declare Xyz Dragon Cannon if I can't summon it. And this can allow me to easily go into the Vwxyz Dragon Catapult Cannon, even if, you know, my opponents banish my Xyz Dragon Cannon or something else has happened to it. That's kind of one of the things that it helps to prevent. The final card in here is 1 copy of Limiter Removal. Really, really good card. And combined together with your trap card, you can actually use Limiter to double a monster's attack power, and then when it would be destroyed during the end phase, you use your Ojama Pajamas effect to banish this and prevent the destruction. Now, moving on to the traps. Probably the best trap and the best card in this entire deck. If you get this card and you can keep it on board, you pretty much win. Once per turn during either player's main phase, you can activate this effect to search 1 Ojama card from your deck to your hand, and then discard 1 card. Doesn't have to be an Ojama card from your hand to the graveyard. So this allows you to just fix your hand during each turn. Usually you'll be grabbing an Ojamagic and discarding it to search Ojamas out of your deck to thin your deck and increase your ability to draw good stuff. You combine that together, of course, and you can actually discard this card over here, the Ojama Duo, send it to the graveyard, and during your next turn, it can special summon the Ojamas out of your deck, and then you can use Ojama Pajama to grab an Ojama, and then or also grab your Ojama Delta Hurricane to blow up your opponent's entire board. So very, very strong card, and definitely something that that really makes the deck well. Ojama Duo also works really well because it can special summon 2 tokens to your opponent's board, and guess what those 2 tokens are good for? You can use your Armed Dragon level 5 to run over one of those tokens, thereby allowing you to summon Armed Dragon level 7 during the end phase. So very, very good cards there. Ojama Pajama also allows you to have a non-activation banish instead of destruction effect, so you can banish any Ojama card and protect a Light Machine Fusion or Armed Dragon monster you control on your side of the field. So very, very good card, and I can't tout it high enough. So that plus the Ojama Duo, super, super helpful for all your different plays. Then we've got 1 copy of Ring of Destruction, which Chazz ran in North Academy, as you guys are aware. Use it to destroy his Gyakugire Panda to destroy all the North Academy students. one copy of Call of the Haunted, one of Chazz's all-time favorite trap cards, so we got to have that in here. And finally, a Union Scramble. Gives you a second bite at the apple. If you've summoned a Xyz Dragon Cannon, can get you a whole bunch of Union monsters back from your Banish Zone, which you wouldn't have access to otherwise. That's going to do it for the main deck. Moving on to the extra deck. As we mentioned before, we've got 3 copies of Ojama King. You won't summon all 3 of these, but I just have them in here because I was able to get them. I would like an ulti of this, but I definitely will not run it if I do have one. But Ojama King locks down 3 monster zones, pretty much all there is to it. Ojama Knight locks down the other 2. I'm hoping that we get an Ojama fusion spell at some point down the line because I'd really, really like to be able to search the fusion spell for the Ojamas in this deck. It would just speed up the consistency in here so much. I'd probably do like a new profile featuring some of the newer stuff, but as long as we, as long as the older stuff was still kind of like front and center, I'd be okay running some of the newer things in here. Next cards we've got are 3 copies of the Vwxyz Dragon Cannon. Nothing really I can say about these guys, but they're super fun to summon, and anytime you get one of these out, you're usually already winning the game anyway, so, anything else beyond that is just a win more. But very, very fun card, and you can summon it so often in this deck that it's not even funny, and it's like, I can't even tell you how fun it is using a card like this against your opponent. Now we have some of your key combo pieces in here. We've got 2 copies of VW Tiger Catapult. We have 3 copies of your XYZ Dragon Cannon for, all sorts of different plays. XYZ Dragon Cannon, I actually want to take specific note of because this card is freaking incredible. Chazz's deck likes to discard a lot of things from your hand to the graveyard, and Xyz Dragon Cannon actually does that perfectly. So a cool combo that I love to do in this deck is, since this is not a once per turn, you can pretty much pop your opponent's side of the board if you have this guy on board plus an Ojama Magic in your hand. Discard the Ojama Magic from your hand to the graveyard, pop something your opponent controls. Then Ojama Magic will search you 3 more Ojamas, and what you want them for is 3 more discards for 3 more pops in this deck. This deck has a lot of advantage that goes nowhere. XYZ Dragon Cannon helps you use that advantage in a huge way to pop your opponent's board and clear the way for a for an XYZ for a Vwxyz Dragon Catapult Cannon. And the great thing about it is if your opponent Solemn Strikes this while you have a Ojama Pajama on board, this card doesn't even get destroyed because that card will just negate the activation of the effect, but it will not destroy it. So, you can just pretty much demolish your opponent's entire board using that. The final card we've got in this deck here is 2 copies of the one and only Armed Dragon Catapult Cannon. When this card came out, guys, I couldn't even believe my eyes. Like, whoever designed this support for this deck knows Chazz front and back, and, they couldn't have given us anything better for this deck if they had tried. Like, I never would have even dreamed of being able to play this deck were it not for crazy cool support cards like this. Armed Dragon Catapult Cannon's effect is absolutely insane. It doesn't have any protection of its own, but it doesn't really need any because anytime during your opponent's turn, if they even so much as blink, you can activate this effect and banish all cards on their field and in their graveyard by banishing a card in your deck to the graveyard. And then, if that wasn't enough, guys, basically what you get to do is you get to activate, any card that that you or your opponent has banished cannot be activated for the rest of the duel. So it's a crazy game-ending, game-winning card, and it's a combination that can only be summoned by having a previously summoned Armed Dragon level 7 and a Vwxyz Dragon Catapult Cannon, and you banish them either from your field or your graveyard to summon this card. One other thing to note, guys, is that it doesn't necessarily have to be the version that you summon. As long as you have summoned those cards correctly at some point during the duel, you can banish any copy of those cards, even ones that have not been summoned correctly. So it's insane, guys. It is absolutely insane and so much fun. Yeah, so that's going to do it for this deck profile. Really hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please remember to rate, comment, and subscribe. Thanks again to a Psychotropic Wonderlust for the deck suggestion. If you guys like the video, just let me know. If you have any comments, let me know as well. And keep looking out for more Yu-Gi-Oh! GX character deck profiles coming soon. Thanks so much for watching, and this has been the Merman Master, signing out. Catch you guys next time. Peace.